We haven't been down to Santa Ponsa for a couple of weeks now, so we thought we'd come to have a look to see what changes have been occurring and to fill you in on what we think is the latest news. So here we are at the beach in Santa Ponsa. Not a very nice day today. We've had some very iffy weather over the last week or so, and it was pouring with rain yesterday and pouring with rain again today, so we might have to cut this one short depending on what happens to the weather. So it was St. Patrick's Day last week, so it's March 2021, and it seems an opportune time to come back to Santa Ponsa. We would normally be here this weekend or the last weekend as part of the Santa Ponsa parades. In the past, Anita's had her children singing here, and I would bring students from my school and we would set up a stall. So all along this promenade here there would be stalls, and we'd have a stall just at the end of this part of the park promenade, usually selling books or toys, and we'd be raising money for local charities. Well, that didn't happen last year, and it's not happened again this year. So local charities have been suffering, not just from us but from all types of donations. So no St. Patrick's Day parade this year. We'll hope it returns next year. As I said, the weather's not been so good recently, and the beach is deserted today, but we have had some progress with bars and restaurants, which has been quite important. So bars, which have been for the last 3 weeks now, have been allowed to open their terraces, and restaurants also, up until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But this week the restrictions were loosened a little bit, and they've allowed inside to be open, so you can now have a drink or a bite to eat inside a restaurant, and that's seen as a significant move. Everyone got very excited over the last week because Germany announced that people returning from the Baleares wouldn't have to go into quarantine, and so some of the German tour operators started to lay on lots more flights, particularly over the Easter period. And well, those flights and the hotels were booked up very, very quickly, some of them selling out almost straight away. So we're expecting a lot of German tourists, so there's a lot of excitement that the tourist season was actually going to be starting over the Easter period. And that was somewhat quashed in the week when the vaccine fiasco across Europe happened, and the ban on the AstraZeneca vaccine, and then later on the European Medical Association decided that the AstraZeneca vaccine is perfectly safe, and so vaccines are starting or about to start. Here in Spain, they're not actually going to start until next Wednesday, so they've got to give themselves time to set up all the appointments again that had to be cancelled due to the cancellation of the vaccine. So we're not due to start our AstraZeneca vaccines until middle of next week. The Pfizer vaccines have continued. They're on a somewhat lower number though, because I don't think they have so many of the Pfizer vaccine. And there's talk of the Moderna, and even talk of a Sputnik, a Russian vaccine. But they are all to come perhaps in the future. Some of our teachers have already had the AstraZeneca with a few little side effects, but nothing too much to worry about. But we have to wait, the over 55s in Spain, at least here in Mallorca, have to wait until next month when we can have the Pfizer vaccine. So we'll see how that goes. So we're just going to have to be patient and wait and see. You can see lots of puddles. It did rain a lot yesterday, and it continued to rain a lot this morning, so lots of water, not many people. There's McDonald's across the road, all closed up. It's been like that for a long time. We're just going to go over this little torrente, little river. Even though we've had some rain, there's virtually no water in it. Sea's looking pretty calm here. Yeah, we've got a yellow warning for weather, so if there's any bad weather being forecast here in Mallorca, we get a warning: yellow, amber, red. Yellow is just to be aware that we were in for some bad weather, and Anita said to me just before we came out, the recommendation is to stay inside today. But the warning's for wind, and the wind is due to be coming from the northeast, and we're down on the southwest, so we've got the whole of the island protecting us from that wind. And you can see the trees are hardly moving here, and there's very little breeze, and the sea is dead calm. So we're just going to walk up to the top here, to the T-junction where the strip goes off to the right, and then we're going to walk down towards the square and have a look to see what's open and what isn't open. Not really expecting to see very much different from the last time we were here though. Burger King really hasn't been affected too much, as it's a sort of a takeaway place. Got their motorcycles out there, so they've been open throughout pretty much. On a normal St. Patrick's Day, these roads would be blocked off here, and just where the roundabout is in front, there would be a stage, and that's where Anita would perform with the choirs. That's not happened now for at least 2 years, so we'll see what happens next year. So that there, we've got the strip. Many people ask me about that. There's nothing much open up there, so we're going to head in this direction, which is towards the square. Local council have been out pruning the trees, so these are looking pretty good. Bars and restaurants, nothing open here. It's good to see. Oh, and the smell. I'm sorry you've not got smelly vision, so you can't smell the food that's coming out of some of these restaurants. So it's nice to see the places coming back to life. So what's normal at this time of the year is getting the big jobs done. So you can see all the scaffolding. Edificio Isabella is having a bit of a makeover. That will all be done, cleared away before any tourists arrive. One of the places that has been asked about is the Globales Verde Mar. So Sarah in particular was asking me. So this is the roadside. When we come back, we'll come back by the seaside of the Globales Verde Mar apartments there. Walking up, you occasionally get some views just between the buildings there, and there's a view to the cross, the Santa Ponsa cross there. Did a video there a few weeks ago. The weather was much better then. We're going to continue going up here and then down towards the square. Just coming up to Caesar's. Most of these bars down on this side are closed, but we do get one or two as we walk down that are open. So people do ask me, will we be able to come on our holidays here? And really there's no safe answer to that question. Looking at the websites, looked at the Hotel San Matias, which is in Palma Nova, and they say they're going to be opened on the 22nd of June. So it's really take a look, but nothing is for certain. But if the hotels are open, then the bars, the restaurants and all the other activities will open as well. But if they're not open, the hotels are not open, then why should the bars open? So they will stay closed until they're sure that they've got some clients. We'll just have a quick look to see what's going on in the square. The gardens are very well looked after. These bushes need perhaps a little trim, but they've been done recently, and so the gardens are looking quite nice. And there's work going on in the square. Again, all of this will be tidied up and made ready for when the visitors come. Meter all wrapped up because it's a bit chilly today. Yesterday the temperature got up to 8 degrees Celsius. It was very cold yesterday. Today it's supposed to go up to about 12 degrees, so it's still pretty cold. And besides having a weather warning about wind, people were advised not to go up into the mountains because of snow. So yesterday there were falls of snow in the mountains of Mallorca. So we're going to head down to the promenade that walks down by the sea and takes us all the way back to the beach. Walk down here now on this pathway. Last weekend our YouTube channel achieved 1,000 subscribers, so a big thank you to all those people who have subscribed to the channel. It doesn't cost anything, you just click on a button and subscribe, and that way you can get notification of any new videos that we post. So please do that, and continue to put your comments down at the bottom just underneath the video in the YouTube channel, and we try to respond to all of the comments that are left there. Most of them, all of them actually, are very, very kind comments, so thank you very much for those. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up. They're always good to see. So last time we came down here, we did see a little bit of damage that had been caused by some of the storms that had happened over the winter. And winter's not finished, although it's the first day of spring now, so the weather should be getting better, but so occasionally we do get a storm. So we'll see how the damage has gone. The sea is very calm today here. I think if we were on the north of the island, we'd find a different story. But the sea's looking beautiful and very calm. and because it's so cold and it's been raining, there's no boats out there, there's no paddle boarders. If you do come down this way, there are some steps, so you have to be a little bit careful. It feels as though the rain's coming back on again, getting a few spots. It's a really nice walk by the sea. You can hear the gentle waves on the pebbles down below. When we were last down here, there was quite a bit of damage done, and it's good to see that repairs have been done now, and that shouldn't take too long to put right again. And that was a real mess a few weeks ago, and the wind had just blown the whole thing in. Some of the comments that I've had, people feel as though they're actually coming along the walk with us, and that's really good. Makes me feel good, makes Anita feel good. Some parts it gets a little bit hairy. There's been some damage done to this pathway that needs to be repaired. Need to be a little bit careful places like this.
Oh my goodness, be careful then.
Anita's very worried about me. Managed to negotiate that. And it's just spotting with rain again. Sea's nice and clear. The apartments on this side have quite amazing views over the bay. I had a message from Ashley from Innsbruck, who asked me some questions, but when I went back to look for the message I couldn't find the message, so apologies Ashley if I've not responded to you. If you'd like to leave a comment, get in touch. I'll try and answer whatever questions you have. And Sarah was asking me about the Verdemar apartments. So this is the seaside, looks a little bit better from this side. Pool there looking quite inviting. But perhaps not today. One thing the rain does is to wash away the yellow pollen that we get here around this time of the year from the pine trees. So if you looked at my car yesterday, it was a yellow rather than a black car. due to the yellow pollen, and much of that yellow pollen's got washed away today, and that's great news. And the other thing that we have at this time of the year are the processionary caterpillars. I haven't seen very many, but Anita did see a string of them during the week. This debris here has been washed up by the pool here due to the storms, because everything's closed up. Nobody's bothered moving anything yet. That will all get done later on. And there's the yellow pollen here in the swimming pool. I mentioned that over the last 2 or 3 weeks the restrictions have been eased a little bit. I suppose that was the good news. The bad news is that over Easter they're going to be tightened. In fact, for about 2 weeks they're going to be tightened, and that means that people won't be able to travel from the mainland to Mallorca. Interesting side effect of that is that people from Germany can come here, because that is a law that's set by the government, central government in Madrid. So foreigners can come to the island, but Spanish people from the mainland will be restricted. Here in Mallorca, the number of cases has gone down considerably, and we are less than 50 per 100,000. Did go up slightly over the last couple of days, but we still are in a low risk area, together with Valencia. Most of the rest of Spain is in a sort of a medium risk, and there are still some areas which are high risk as well. So during the Easter holidays, Spanish families are not going to be allowed to come back to Mallorca to visit their families, or go to the mainland to visit families. And we do have some other tightening of restrictions. The number of people allowed in restaurants to sit at a table is going to be limited to 2 to 4 people from 2 households. So that's another little tightening of the restrictions. No news on change of curfews, so that remains 10 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning. And no news on any hour changes for bars and restaurants. They appear to be staying at 5 p.m. so you can go out for lunch, but you can't go out for dinner. Whereas the news about football is still uncertain. Spanish Football League were going to try and hold their cup final, which was delayed from last year, and they were hoping that they could have a crowd, but that's been quashed. No crowds at football for the foreseeable future. But hopefully before the end of the season we'll be able to get to see some of the matches. I have to stop now and again just to clean the lens, because it is raining a little bit now. Here we can see some more work that's being undertaken. Right on the beach here in Santa Ponsa. So there's the beach, virtually empty. Maybe the odd dog walker is all you're likely to see on a day like today. I hope you've enjoyed our rather wet walk today around Santa Ponsa, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Bye.